Hey guys, it's Karl. Thought I'd make a super quick video update on what's on my iPhone. We're over halfway through the year and we're approaching new iPhone season actually. We should be getting the new announcements by September, so just over a month away. This summer is kind of blowing by pretty quickly. So in case you are wondering what apps to rock, if you get a new iPhone for back to school season, for back to work season, is that a thing? These are my favorite apps that I'm currently rocking. And right off the bat, you can see actually, I am rocking a brand new iPhone myself. My older one, my 13 Pro Max, this got the deadliest scratch on the middle of the screen. I was out on some project shooting for Toyota. Actually, it fell onto a little rock and it has the deepest gouge. I find that with iPhones in general, the screen, although they are more shatterproof with their ceramic coating, it makes it so much more prone to scratching. So the first thing I would recommend, if you get a new iPhone, grab a screen protector. My combo is actually from dbrand. You can get screen protectors as well. And in case you haven't seen the back, this is actually their new Nothing skin. I know all the hype is around that new Nothing phone. If you don't want to have a Nothing phone, they don't actually sell them here in Canada or the US actually. You can just grab a skin for 15 bucks and pretend you have a Nothing phone. To the actual screen and to the actual apps. And you can see that I've created my own custom icon pack. Because your phone is the most used piece of tech in your arsenal, it's a place that you spend a lot of time. And every time that I turn on my phone, I want to be greeted by a clean home screen or a clean homepage. And you can see all of the main apps that I use have custom icons designed for them. So stuff like photos, reminders, Safari, music, Outlook, which is my weird email client of choice. Just don't ask. It's the one that I kind of use. And along the bottom, we just have messages, Gmail, for my own personal email, camera, and the good old phone icon. So if you're interested, this icon pack has lived now for the past 2 years. I know that I haven't really updated it, but a ton of you have purchased it in the past. You have a couple different options of light mode, dark mode, and of course, I had to include some hints of orange. So that is my main home screen. Swiping on over is more so to the apps that I actually use and are the ones that go in rotation. So you'll see the very first folder that I have is social. It's the most used one, obviously. I'd say probably my most used one is still probably Instagram, to be honest. I know that TikTok is a big one. I'm probably honestly too old for the TikTok demo. I use Reddit a ton, and over on Lightroom, this is where I edit all my photos. So I do have a specific Lightroom pack. I haven't released it yet to you guys. If you want to see it done, I'll quickly go to, say, a photo that I've edited, and you can see that is the stock photo. And if I just go on and off, that's from the OG to the edited one. So if you want to see these as a Lightroom pack, let me know. I've been working on some presets myself. Maybe I can link them for a couple bucks to just help support the channel. Maybe I'll put it on the same place that you can pick up my icon pack. I know so many of you have asked. I've just never got around to it. Hopefully by the end of this video, you can buy some sweet Lightroom edits. Moving on to the second folder, this is obviously a bit personal. It's the finances folder. It's where I manage both finances personally and for the media side of things. You can see since I'm based up here in Canada, most of these are Canadian banks. Honestly, nothing too much to see. I think you just pick your poison and go with it. The main apps, or the ones that I wanted to get to, are kind of following that. And to be honest, the main reason why I created this vid was just to plug my new fantasy league. So a new fantasy Premier League is starting in a couple days actually. So I partnered up with EA and FIFA for this new fantasy league. There's a ton of different prizes. I think the first place one is at 500 or 1,000 bucks. And then I think you can win copies of the game as your ranking kind of progresses. So I'm super into fantasy Premier League. If you haven't joined, I will leave my code to join my league. We can talk banter. You can DM me over on Instagram. I love to chat fantasy. So that is something that I will spend the most time on. And I know that this year is really special because it's not only a shortened season, it's starting a bit earlier, but we have the World Cup coming in Qatar in the winter. So I'm trying to head to that, trying to find a sponsor to go actually. So if any of you know any, send me. Huge football fan, and as a little tidbit, I used to play football when I was a younger guy, 16 to 18. Played some pretty decent level of football in the Netherlands, PSV Eindhoven, for any of you that know. If you know, you know. Moving on to the next app. Speaking of Premier League, this is actually the new app where I'm going to be watching all of my content. So previously, I watched all my Premier League games off of DAZN. That has now changed to the football app or football TV app. I honestly just purchased a year-long membership. I don't actually see any of the Premier League games here, but judging by this banner, watch all matches live exclusively on Fubo TV. So I'm hoping I just purchased that for a good reason. I think it was like $140 for the year. And for someone that just eats, sleeps, and tries to watch every game, I will usually have this on while I'm editing or while I'm doing something. I'm always trying to watch or catch up to Premier League games. So that's the main app that I use to watch that. The second major sport which I'm into is Formula One. All of you know that I'm a huge F1 fan, and I actually used to be an F1 fan before F1 got famous from Netflix. So I grew up watching Michael Schumacher, Jacques Villeneuve back in those days, back in the 90s. My dad got me onto the sport, and I'm really happy that more people are into it now, so I can actually talk about it. So within this app, you can see all of the latest F1 news. You can see when the next races are coming up. You can even check fantasy, which once again, I'm into. I know that they just went on their summer break. And as a little heads up, Sebastian Vettel unfortunately just retired. One of my favorite drivers, actually. I think he's actually a really good guy. And I do have one of his signed hats from his days in Ferrari. Wish I had a signed hat from when he was WC in Red Bull, but yeah, Formula One, Premier League, those are the two main sports that I watch, hence that's why they occupy the two top spots in my app list. Next off, going on to content, I think everyone watches content on their phone, so once again, I think this is the pick of your poison for the streaming service that you choose. So my two right now are Netflix and Prime Video. Over on Netflix, I just finished watching Stranger Things, and when I don't have anything to watch, I just literally have The Office on repeat. I am the biggest Office fan. And on Prime Video, I have a guilty pleasure. I have been watching The OC. Strangely enough, me and my fiance every night, maybe we stick an episode or two on when we have dinner, when we play with Link. That is my guilty pleasure. I used to have Disney Plus, but since Obi-Wan is over, I usually just renew that when a new Star Wars show comes on. And also, switching back to Prime Video, my mind is kind of switching. The new Lord of the Rings trailer dropped. This show looks so good. So stoked that this is coming in September. Also a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Also a big Harry Potter fan. I'm a big fantasy fan, if you can't tell. But yeah, that's kind of what I'll be watching. Let me know what good shows I'm missing out on, because I'm always looking for a new good show to crush. Okay, next on my music choice app is Spotify. I think that's no surprise. Once again, you're just picking your poison. I think Apple Music is one of the worst, so I do pay for that monthly subscription for Spotify, or actually Katja, fiance, pays for that, and she's tacked me onto her family plan. So a big artist that I listened to recently, Rufus DeSalle, for any of you that are into it. I actually just saw one of their concerts here in Toronto. Probably the best concert that I've been to this year. Some good times, and that's my music choice. Next off, moving on to wallpapers. So this one is called Backdrops, and I'm a huge fan of switching out wallpapers, not only for these videos, but just for new aesthetics when I'm creating B-roll on devices. So this is the app that I usually just select free wallpapers from. There's a ton to choose from. You can go via color scheme, you can go via theme, or I guess overall look. The next app, which is sadly another guilty pleasure of mine, is Nike. So a ton of you ask what clothes I usually wear. Not this one in particular, but most of my clothes, 90% of them, are sadly purchased from Nike. So if they want to sponsor me, I would save a ton of money. Even though their golf team reached out, I'm under their Nike golf partner or whatever. They did send me a pair of orange golf shoes, which I have secretly been wearing as regular Jordans. No one has to know that. But yeah, I think a lot of you ask where my clothes come from. You know where they are, and it's just what I like to spend my money on. The next app that we're checking out is 8 Sleep. So if you are into tracking your health fitness, your health sleeping metrics, this is a great app to check out, and I do have a review coming of their full mattress, their Pod 3, coming out in a couple days, so stay posted. I actually went to the Miami Grand Prix with 8 Sleep, who's actually a sponsor of the Mercedes team. So they're essentially creating these new smart pods, and they're not technically just mattresses. They live over top of the mattress. They have a ton of different sensors built in that not only tracks your heart rate, they track REM cycles, but you can also actively cool either side of the bed. So as an example, I like to have my side around that -4 range. Katja likes to have hers a bit warmer. So you can control the temperature of your bed. Because most mattresses are known to trap heat, it doesn't induce proper sleep. So this is just an app that I love to check what my sleep health is. Cool thing to check. And once again, the full review of their mattress is coming shortly. Next off, switching to an app. If you don't honestly have this, I'm tying this back into my Prime membership details. This is just the Amazon app. This is where everyone just buys things. Another big burning question that I always get is the hair product that I use, and I'm including this app just because I recently purchased it actually earlier today. American Crew Molding Clay, you all know what it is now, no more questions. It'll be linked in the description. I'll probably have an affiliate. I'll get 5% back for a kickback. It's 20 bucks. It's the greatest hair product ever. I just put like a bit of it in the morning, just go off to the side, and that's how I get my hairdo, using this stuff for 20 bucks, and it lasts for a couple months. Moving on to some productivity apps, and honestly, I am a big believer in using the stock ones from Apple. So I use both notes and reminders. So I think these are really great just because I switch devices all the time, because I actually work off of these notes with members of my team. So Nick and Chris, they're both on here, and I can jot down notes, share them with them, and they can update those in real time. So for example, I'm gonna hop into notes. I'll bring up the Shell Motorsport, for example. That's a project I was working with Shell. We did a road trip from Toronto to New York for their Formula E. So I just leave things like hashtags that I need to leave on, say, Instagram. I have a few talking points, and if I need to collect receipts to invoice them later on, it's just a great way to include them all in one place. And you can even see further on, I have the LG QNED mini LED TV. As an example, I just made some speaking points. Once again, this video is going to be coming out in the next couple days. But if I'm scripting, if I'm storyboarding, this is a note that I can share with, like I said, members of my team. They can see them, they can add any notes, and they know what I'm talking about in the video. Reminders is the same kind of thing. You can create shared notes with your teammates, or you can just use it as your own productivity app. So for example, I use these solely for to-do lists. So you can see here, I have a couple things to do today. So I'm actually shooting that OnePlus 10T video. I was gonna bring the box over. I can't, I won't. That's under embargo. You can see a hint of a red box. It could technically be any box. OnePlus hasn't really changed their box design, so I will leave that off to the side. That video is once again dropping in the next couple days, so I have that to do. So next off, switching from productivity to some gaming, and mobile gaming, obviously such a huge thing. It's something that I sadly don't have too much time for. I still play more over on my consoles, so that's why I am rocking the Xbox app. This is pretty self-explanatory. And I am sadly a bit of an achievement hunter, so whatever game that I'm playing, I can go into here and see what achievements I need to unlock, what I actually need to do to unlock them. So for example, Halo Infinite, I know that it's an old game, but I'm still working my way through some of the achievement lists. So when I have a couple spare minutes, I'll try to grab those in the campaign or in multiplayer. For actual mobile gaming, once again, no judging. These are some of my tech guilty pleasures. So if any of you recall MapleStory, it is this 2D side-scrolling game that I used to play back in like middle school. I have somehow been sucked back into that game in my very limited time. Maybe I'll spend, 5, 10 minutes, maybe a day just doing my daily quests. This is their mobile version of the game. Just no judging. It's a game that I play. It's cool. And the next game is Tiny Wings, which is another OG mobile game. Once again, just something to spend 30 seconds, a minute. I usually play this once a day, trying to unlock this one level, which I'm just gonna bring up. So it is, for the score times 28 multiplier, you need to achieve these 3 things. So I've reached the 9th island. I have not flown through the 4th island in fever mode. It's a thing. It's a thing to unlock, and you can actually YouTube this. There are YouTube tutorials how to beat this level. There are people that have spent years on this level, which I am one of those people. Once again, if you know, you know. Moving on to the next app, kind of switching back into some regular stuff. This one is called Taskrabbit. So I discovered this recently. This is essentially an app where you can order people to do certain tasks. So for example, I have my washer dryer off to the side. This is the app that I actually use to get it delivered. So you can ask for anything. So you can ask for people to pack your things. You can ask for painting help. If you're lining up in line for the next iPhone, you can ask someone on Taskrabbit to wait in line for the iPhone 14 if you want. It's something really interesting. You can ask for people to do errands, to purchase groceries, and each person has their own set price depending on what task that you're trying to find. So just browse through it if there's a task that you're not particularly good at. If you can't haul a heavy ass washer or dryer yourself, just pay someone the 50 bucks to do it themselves. It saves you the hassle. And of course you might not have a vehicle, and they usually do. The last app on the list is called Vino, and since I am traveling to Europe next week, it's something that I like to do when I'm out there. I love to drink a bit of wine here and there. So this is an app where you can actually just scan the barcode or scan the label of the wine that you're drinking. It gives you a score based on reviewers that are actually decent at drinking wine, whereas for me, my go-to line whenever we order a bottle is, tastes like wine. It's just a basic app that I use to scan my wine and read about it because I just don't have the knowledge myself. And I know when I've scanned it before, people have asked what app that I'm using. So there it is, that's Vino. I'm gonna be using that a ton when I'm in Europe. Those are the main apps that I'm rocking. So I hope you enjoyed this list. Remember, for Fantasy Premier League, I will leave the code, once again, flashing it there. Join my league. Don't get too discouraged if I kick your butt. Icon pack link down below, D-brand skin link down below. I'm slurring. That's the end of this video. That's it. We'll catch you in one of my next ones. Peace.